But I
Ooh.
got to ask you a question. You know, in your book, you mentioned it. I've heard you say it before on other interviews that I've watched with you and even with me. You've said, don't worry about the how.
Right.
And that is what everybody worries about. They don't even, go to the grocery store because they're worried about the how. So how do you get past worrying about the how and get to the doing?
That's good. That's probably one of the best questions I think I've ever been asked, to be honest. So the truth is you don't have to know how. And that is, you're right, the biggest challenge that most people are faced with. So what do you need? You need faith. So you have to have faith before you get to the doing. You got to believe in the unseen. You got to believe in your dream. You got to imagine, because you have a mental faculty called imagination. I have a mental faculty called imagination. Gregory Hammond has that. Teresa has that. We all have that. So what you do, it's a muscle. It's like an emotional muscle as well. Faith is an emotional muscle. So if you decide, let's use the New York Times bestseller example. If you decide you would love to be a New York Times bestselling author, do you believe it's possible for you? Now, Teresa, I'm sure you do.
I had to get around the greatest people like Zig Ziglar and yourself for me to believe it, because I'm one of the biggest naysayers about my believing in myself, but I'm getting better. I'm getting better.
Excellent. Well, better is good. As Bob says, better is a good word. It certainly is. So if you are suspicious or don't believe it, just imagine for a moment you are that which you desire to be, whether it's New York Times bestseller or whether, like Gregory, is a destiny coach, whether you're the top coach in the world, whatever it is, you imagine it to be. And so you've got to go from the place of thinking you don't know how, or I have to know how, to understanding you are going to work in harmony with the laws of the universe. When you understand how manifesting occurs, how it takes place, recognizing that, yes, you have a role, but so does the universe, and you have to trust it, right? You just have to trust that whatever is going to be. Now, your responsibility is your responsibility. You must abide by that. And that means that you feel as if what you desire is already in your life now. That's the way you live. The how's going to show up. You might even figure out the how after the fact. But it may be something like Steve Jobs used to say, we can connect the dots looking backwards. Well, of course we can connect the dots looking backwards, because it's already happened, right? We can now look back and go, oh, okay, now I see how that happened. Like, Teresa, you've heard me share the story about buying a house when I had no money, right? I took a cash advance on my visa and I went out and bought a house and had no money to do it and didn't know how. And of course, you've heard and listened to Savvy Wisdom. So you heard a story in there of Sophie. Sophie had a vision to own a home. She didn't know how it was going to happen, but she fixated on the outcome. And that's what you do. But when I say fixated on the outcome, I mean you're fixated on the feeling state of imagining that it's in your life now. And by doing that, the how shows up. Now, that's a challenge for most people, because they're like, I want to see it before I believe it. But that's not the way it works. You believe it and then you see it.